I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day. Including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But
when will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunter said. Everybody said, and that was one of the stipulations.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every.
Before we kick things off, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates on the biggest matchups and behind-the-scenes stories in MMA. Now let's get straight into it. Islam Makhachev is deep in training mode as he gears up for his welterweight title fight against Jack Della Maddalena. But not everyone's backing him in this one. Aljamain Sterling gave his thoughts on the matchup, and in his eyes, JDM would completely dominate Islam. He even said the performance would be so one-sided that the hype around a potential Islam versus Ilia Topuria showdown would vanish. Sterling broke it down by saying JDM's size and sharp mid-range striking could make life tough for Islam. He also pointed out that Islam won't have the size edge he's sometimes had in past fights.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam, shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against them either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Islam's been locked in at the gym, focused as ever. He's working on refining his wrestling, tuning up his striking, and staying sharp across all areas. But going up against someone like Jack brings different problems. JDM's range control, striking accuracy, and physical presence make him a serious threat. He's known for his pressure at mid-range, and his ability to make it hard for anyone to get in on takedowns. Even with top-tier preparation, Islam might struggle to play his usual game if he can't get in close and control the tempo. In the training room, Islam's been putting in serious work. He's polishing his wrestling, sharpening his stand-up, and covering every angle imaginable. But Jack Della Maddalena is no ordinary opponent. With his clean striking natural size and ability to manage distance, JDM presents a test unlike most. His ability to press forward and time his shots makes it risky to shoot. And unless Islam finds a way to close that distance safely, sticking to his standard blueprint could be difficult.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Bilal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Dan Hardy weighed in on where JDM stands in the welterweight mix. He rated Jack's performance against Bilal Muhammad, but questioned whether Islam's skills would carry up to 170. Hardy respects everything Islam's done at lightweight, but he's unsure whether that success will follow him into a division full of bigger, stronger guys. One of Hardy's key concerns was how Islam would manage the physicality and pace across 5 rounds against true welterweights.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Belal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight, wouldn't he?
Islam's not taking any shortcuts in camp. His sessions are high intensity, constant wrestling, detailed striking drills, and hard sparring. Surrounded by elite partners and top coaches, he's covering every detail. Going up against someone like JDM isn't just about being skilled. It's about executing at the highest level under pressure. Daniel Cormier called the matchup between Islam and Jack a can't-miss fight with real weight behind it. He said if Jack keeps winning the way he has, this bout becomes even bigger, especially since Islam's never fought at welterweight before. While DC praised Islam's grappling and physicality, he wondered how it'll stack up against someone built like Jack. He also mentioned talk about Islam trimming down for a July fight, and questioned whether there's enough time for him to bulk properly and get used to the demands of a heavier division.
They're going to watch regardless. It's a fantastic fight. It's a big-time fight. And if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude. But in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170?
Cormier made another point. It's not just technique that makes this fight compelling. It's the story. Jack just claimed the welterweight belt after a gritty win over Belal. And now Islam's stepping up from lightweight, looking to take it. One's the new king. The other's a reigning champ chasing 2-division greatness.
A lot of questions. But it's a big-time fight, and we'll get into the X's and O's as we get closer. But right now, we're talking the story. We're talking about a guy that just beat Belal Muhammad to become champion, now getting challenged by a 155-pound champion.
Latest training footage shows Islam zeroed in on what he does best: wrestling. He's drilling chain takedowns, working entries and counters, and going up against heavier guys to simulate what he'll face in the cage. The way he's training shows he's fully locked in on making his style work even against bigger opponents. And for his fans, it's a reminder that while he might be moving up a weight class, his grappling is still elite, and could be the key to getting the job done. Luke Thomas applauded JDM's striking in his recent bout, saying he stood out despite Belal also putting on a solid performance. But Thomas also highlighted some gaps, mainly in defense, and some risky takedown attempts that could leave him open. Against someone like Islam, those little mistakes could get exploited fast.
I really think that, you knew the striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the 5th, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound for pound number one guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
He also said he's really interested in seeing how Islam performs at 170. While he acknowledged that a future bout with Ilia Topuria would be exciting, he's more intrigued by this move up. Thomas knows it won't be easy, but sees it as a big shot for Islam to grab another title and build his legacy.
I have to tell you, Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilia versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Even though the focus is on Islam versus JDM, Thomas made it clear that a topuria matchup still has potential. He mentioned that even if Islam comes up short in a tight fight at welterweight, he could always return to 155 and face Ilia later. According to him, Islam's move to 170 brings something fresh to the table and opens up new storylines.
Makhachev and JDM next doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilia at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his ass kicked, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country. He's earned it.
Stephen Thompson also spoke on the risks Islam faces at welterweight. He admitted Islam is naturally strong, but pointed out that most welterweights cut from well over 200 pounds, which makes the strength and size matchup a serious concern. He said that while Jack might not be much taller than Islam, the overall physicality of the division is a big factor. Thompson respected Islam's grappling, but reminded everyone that Jack already handled guys like Belal Muhammad.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. Over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I've faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JD might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Islam, Belal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Ali Abdelaziz, Islam's manager, confirmed the plans. Islam will fight for the full welterweight belt. This won't be an interim situation. Jack is the current title holder. But if he can't make the walk, the UFC will vacate the belt and find someone else for Islam to face. Abdelaziz made it clear. This plan has the green light from Dana White and Hunter Campbell. If Jack's out, the UFC is still going ahead with the fight.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title. Jack Maddalena is the champion. But if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunter said. Everybody said. And that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seemed like he's healthy, this title will be vacated and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Javier Mendez said it's hard to say if Jack is Islam's toughest test, but made it clear. Islam wants this fight. He praised Islam's skill set and said no one Jack has fought comes close to what Islam brings. He also believes welterweight suits Islam well. He won't be undersized, won't need to cut massive weight, and will come in strong and healthy.
You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. You know, I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, you know, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, you know, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, you know, Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, you know, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, you know, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Henry Cejudo backed Islam to beat Jack and become a double champ, calling it the next logical step in his career. But Kamaru Usman is putting his support behind Jack, highlighting how calm and collected JDM is under pressure. He believes Jack's got what it takes to defend his title. Both of them agreed the likely date is October in Abu Dhabi, which means any Islam versus Topuria talk is on pause for now.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Gilbert Burns also gave his thoughts. He believes 170 is a better weight class for Islam, since cutting to 155 has always been brutal for him. Burns still sees Islam as the top pound-for-pound fighter, but said Jack brings real danger. He mentioned Jack's training with elite guys like Volkanovski and Craig Jones, saying it's clearly paying off. While Burns hasn't broken the matchup down completely yet, he sees it being a close, competitive fight.
Islam's working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's number one pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think, and JDM has a clear shot on beating.
That's a wrap for this video. What do you reckon? Will Islam shock the division and claim a second belt? Or is Jack Della Maddalena about to make another statement? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.